Welcome, everybody, to the Facial Recognition Comedy Podcast.
Who are you?
Oh,
Keep
do have
keep
to.
this
I-
Keep it in. We're
Keep
keeping
it
it in.
man.
I forgot. I forgot.
Name yourself, and then we're gonna explain why you got that wrong
Yeah,
after
this is
recording all of our episodes.
now. This was supposed to be in Spanish.
My name's Jeff Turman.
See,
No, it's not.
Paul.
Paul.
What happened?
Paul.
It's our audio engineer, Paul.
I thought you guys jump in and then I
No, you
Well,
just
I
don't
mean-
listen to our podcast when you record it.
play Mr. Bullet on my phone.
What's
alright?
Mr. Bullet?
It's a dope app.
Okay, we're gonna need more
Paul,
details, Paul.
Paul, what are we paying you for? Oh,
We're not paying him.
wait.
Yep.
Paul, introduce yourself.
Oh, what's up, everybody? I'm Paul Antonio.
Thank you. I'm Paula Viganalin.
And I am Fizza Dasani.
And I'm
Why did I
Zara.
say it that way?
It's too late. We're not editing it out.
Oh
Hey
no!
guys, I'm Zara.
You're trying to be Zara. Zara's not here.
I can't do a female voice.
We were supposed to have another guest, but maybe somebody will drop in. We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
I'm right here, all right.
Okay.
You
Also,
know,
Paul Jeff is here.
Paul Jeff.
I was here 12 hours ago, P.
Yeah.
And someone took a dump outside, right outside the door.
I want to apologize for that.
Yeah. Well, I do appreciate that you threw a newspaper over it. I thought that
I thought
was
some
that
gentle
was a
reading.
classy touch.
I was
yeah.
actually reading while I was shitting in the sidewalk. Just keeping up with my horoscope or whatever.
Yeah, I saw that you wiped your ass with that section.
Yeah, you know how I feel about it.
Yeah.
It's like cleaning peanut butter
What
off
a
of a hot, sunny
gnarly-
sidewalk.
Oh, gross.
Gnarly dump though.
So
like-
somebody took a dump outside the studio.
Yeah,
and
we
then
were
Paul-
recording I was here recording another podcast, and Paul was hosing it down in a hazmat suit.
I don't have
it
a
was
hose.
the loudest
I
thing.
use my hands and chopsticks. That's all I had available to me, all right?
I mean, I offered him floss, but he's like, I don't know. I can do
I said,
this."
I'm not going to wear that while taking care of it.
Damn.
Oh,
I'm
poor
really
bud.
surprised you even came back to the studio today.
The things I
I-
do for you guys.
I know.
Man, I was shocked that he even bothered. Like, it was outside the studio. Like,
Yeah, but you have guests and stuff coming in.
I co-own this place.
oh, okay, that's true.
Yeah.
Oh, you take some pride in your
No,
Shit.
I just don't. I just don't want there to be a pile of shit right outside of the door.
Yeah. So
That
just
sucks.
for our listeners, it's 11 p.m. right now.
We're all a little
11:17
goofy.
p.m.
Um,
You're
but-
here with us right now, even if you're listening at 11 a.m. You're here
Yeah.
with us at 11:17 p.m.
Loopy.
Loopy as hell.
Loopy as hell. Can we just stop having? Do you think it was like a person's shit or was it like a dog shit?
No. It was a person shit for sure.
How did you identify it as
There
a
was
person?
corn in it.
And it didn't even.
Dogs.
And it
Yo,
tasted.
dogs-
It didn't even taste that good.
Oh God, Paul. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, Paul. Yeah, dog shit tastes better. That's the implication there, right, Paul? Is that what you're saying?
No, it's because I left it there last night. All right.
Oh, yeah.
And then I
Oh
had to
no, we
clean it
thought
up.
you were talking about taste testing this shit.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, we're
You wanted it to
high
steep?
end comics. We're intellectual, you might say.
I have a degree.
You know, this is science, right?
Everything's science,
Everything's
Fizza, but
science.
I'm
Well,
not going to analyze this through a scientific
You sure?
lens right now.
You sure?
What can't dogs smell nutrients left in dog shit and that's why they eat it? Something I don't know. Google some science shit about it. I don't know.
Google some science shit.
I wish something ate
I'm
that shit.
tired.
There was a lot of shit out there.
Oh,
Yeah.
gross.
I was
Oh
a
man.
fool.
Okay, we've spent at least half an hour talking about shit.
Yeah, it's and that's not even including the morning part that I spent talking about shit today. There's a whole other half
Episode, if you
hour
wanna
of me
catch
talking about shit on another
a
CPU
fresher
podcast.
shit episode.
You could
Yeah.
hear me scrubbing the shit on.
It's like ASMR in
That's
the
so
background.
You just hear.
It was kind of
outside.
soothing to me. I
Yeah.
was like, look at Paul, he's such a hard worker.
I was actually doing a rain dance. I was trying to get.
Just
I was
hoping that it would
hoping
float
that
away.
I didn't have to remove it myself.
Yeah.
Where'd you put it?
Did you flush?
Shit. I forgot about it. I took it to the dumpster.
Nice.
Yeah.
See,
I was gonna throw it at the homeless guy in the parking lot.
No, that's our homeless guy.
It might have been his.
you
don't
He
know.
left this.
He represents a community. All right.
Of homeless people that you want to throw shit at.
Yes.
Paul.
That's on my new bucket list. They shit on my door. I'll shit on their house.
Oh, Paul.
On their house.
Paul, you don't even know if it was his shit. Why are we
I'm
still
gonna say-
talking
I'm gonna
about
say-
this?
Yeah, Paul.
I
Is anything
analyzed
else
it.
going on in your life, Paul?
That's a big part of my life right now. I have a nail in my tire, and I cleaned up some shit this morning.
Oh, you do have a nail in your tire. You're having a really bad day.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all perspective because you had a good show too. Would you say? I wouldn't say you're having a bad day. I'd say you're having an eventful day.
The show was fun.
Oh yeah.
The microphones didn't work.
Yeah.
But the show was
mics
fun.
didn't work.
No.
Wow,
well,
this
I
is
was
like Final
gonna-
Destination for
Yeah,
Paul's
don't give it out.
comedy.
Don't give it
Yeah,
a
I was
shout out
gonna,
now.
I was gonna spill some tea, but like all I'm
good-
gonna
it was
say,
fun.
is that there has been sound problems often at this particular venue. So
Yeah.
I'm not super surprised.
We took the cover off of the microphone, and the dome that normally covers the microphone was not there.
Stop it.
And it was just held with duct tape. It was just wrapped duct tape.
It was like a sponge on a stick.
Yes, yeah.
What?
As an audio engineer, you know,
I
know my way
can't.
around a microphone.
I cannot.
I would have just brought my own equipment if I knew.
Yeah.
I hate when people do that when they're like, they try to scrape by and you're like, dude, just let me help you.
I scrape shit.
Yeah.
Today.
Well, here we
It
go.
all ties back.
God, this is
I wonder what the title's gonna be.
I scraped
scrapers.
shit scraper.
What's the worst thing you guys have seen at a comedy venue? Like, well,
Comedy.
not
Some of it's
let me
pretty
rephrase
bad.
it. You're like, you scraping shit on the sidewalk would have placed like top 3 at this
Yeah.
mic.
Is that
for
why
sure.
there's a fly, by the way, like flying
Yeah,
around
there's,
the
like, a fly
studio?
here, just
Is there like, did
remnants.
you forget leave like some remnants behind? Like,
No,
this
I
is-
cleaned. As you could tell by the audio of that last podcast, I scrubbed pretty intensely.
I mean, I thought you hired people.
Okay,
like
wait.
the sunshine cleaning crew. Like that. Like
Let's move on to the worst thing. We're still back on this shit thing. Well, can we move on to the worst thing that we've seen at comedy shows?
please.
What is the worst thing that's not comedy? I
Do you
don't
have
know.
something in mind?
I can't think.
I did like one time I did a bar show and the comedian before me had a drink thrown on them by the audience member.
Oh, that sucks. Did that person get escorted out or something?
No, there was no sort of
No
checks
security.
and bounds.
Oh, 'cause
yeah,
it was a
so
bar
and I
show.
was up next.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh well, I have to fucking deal with this shit. But like, and at the time, like I was just like, if someone throws a drink on me, I'm gonna have a fight or flight response, and that's gonna be like me jumping off the stage at your head, like. And I actually clarified that with her. I was like, well, I have to let you know if you throw a drink on me, then this is what will happen. I'm just letting you know. And I think someone calmed her. And the guy before me made like and I think he made a pedophile joke, and I think it struck a nerve. As those jokes do.
Yeah.
She's like, my dad was a pedophile.
Jesus Christ. Just think about all the implications of why I just laughed at that. It's so bad.
That's why she was offended.
I don't know. I've
You
seen,
just want to say comedy. What's the worst comedy?
no, I've just seen
event.
like people like screaming at each other and stuff. Like I don't.
I just
and
thought
I
of
know
something
I've
else,
heard
too.
of other things like violent things happening,
Yeah.
but it hasn't happened while I've been there.
I have one. That I just thought of right now. I drove 100 miles to a gig that they let me. I said, "Can I bring somebody so that I could drive with somebody?" And they put that person on after me, which was an interesting like lineup decision.
Yeah.
So I go up on stage and I'm doing it. We're at like a one of those like veteran lodges things. It's just,
Oh,
like
yeah.
far away. In like 2 minutes into my set that I drove like really far to go to, it was just a complete blackout. Like just all the electricity went out.
Oh
And,
shit.
and I kept doing my set in the dark. Like I was like riffing on it.
Yeah.
And then the lights came back on. I was like, dope. So I got back into it. And then everything went dark again. And so I tried to make some jokes over it. And then I'm just standing there in the dark and I'm still riffing. And as I'm riffing, I think I'm doing good. And the producer just comes up to the stage and is like, I mean, you could get off if you want. Like, you don't have to
God.
What happened was a drunk driver spun out in front of the place and knocked into the power
Oh
the power
shit,
pole.
that's crazy.
So I only did like, well, I ended up doing more time, but the person I brought didn't get to do any time, and we
That
drove like
sucks.
really far out for that.
Did
So,
you guys get
Well,
paid or?
Carpool
No.
lane.
no. This is the best part. The person that I asked, I said, "Hey, let's do the show." Blah blah blah. Yeah, totally. Like right before I'm about to leave. Hey, I'm gonna drive separate there if that's cool.
Oh
No.
damn!
So it was like pointless.
Damn, that 2 hours?
Yeah, like a 2-hour drive.
Damn.
That sucks.
I think this was at a mic years ago. There was a comic who was wearing like she wasn't wearing underwear, and I don't know if that was part of her act, but like I think we saw like
Everything.
yeah.
Like
I don't want to put her name out there.
Well,
She had a
pussy.
skirt on, or
Yeah, but it was like, I mean, her ass was, which is fine, you know, but like it
what was she wearing though besides the no underwear?
I think it was like a skirt, a short skirt.
Squirts.
We said what's the worst thing
I
you've
wish I
seen.
could
Now
say
what's
her
the best
name
thing you've
because
seen?
That's the best thing I
Well,
would have seen in 3.5
it's-
years.
It's all
Just
like, you know, it
jarring.
depends.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess, yeah, that's not like that's not a bad thing. It's just,
Shocking.
it wasn't even, I just wish there were jokes involved.
Yeah. So again, it's the comedy.
Yeah, it comes down to that, right?
So the if we're talking mics, there was, I think I've talked about this before, but it's been a while since I talked about it, where I was running that mic where I didn't rig the bucket, and then someone who I considered a friend got really mad at me for not putting his friend up, and then he chewed me out online, and then he came to the mic, and then we gave him, pulled his name out of the bucket, gave him his time knowing that he was going to chew me out. He spent his whole time chewing me out and was like, who would introduce you to this person? And I can't believe you and blah, blah, blah. And then we lit him and he was like, don't fucking light me. I'll get off the stage when I want to get off the stage. And then the guy who was like the night manager for the venue heard that and was like, no. And then it came into the room and was like, you have to get off the stage. And I was like, nah, he's got 30 seconds left. I was like,
Can I say what venue it was?
do you know what I'm talking about?
Was it at I mean I wasn't there, but was it
It was my mic that I ran.
it was upstairs
Yeah.
in a thing? So one time I was there and I waited like 3.5 hours to do the mic because there was just so many people.
At my mic?
It wasn't yours,
Oh, okay.
but it was the
The
same
one
place.
after, yeah.
Yeah, man, I just ran into the guy who hosted. I forgot, but I was there. So earlier in the night, there was a lesbian comic who went up on stage,
Yeah.
and I really didn't get a lot of her set. But then she started talking about her IUD.
Yeah.
So she's talking about her IUD, whatever. So
I like how Paul was like, that's what it's called.
I have a joke about IUDs.
Yeah.
So she talked about her IUD and then got off stage or whatever. So then later, this is way later on in the night. So I waited 3.5 hours to go up. So I go on stage and I was like, wasn't it crazy that comic? I was like, she says she's a lesbian, right? Like, why did she get an IUD? And then the audio engineer gets on the mic. This is like as I started. He goes, she was raped.
Jesus.
And then
Oh.
so it was just like 3.5 hours that I waited, and then
Oh my God.
all right, guys. Well, that was fun. Good night.
You literally just got off stage.
Yeah, I'm not
That's
gonna.
so funny.
You can't do jokes after that because I really didn't know why she got it, and then
Yeah.
then I was like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But is that like preventative?
Harsh.
You gave the time back to the room. You didn't
Yeah.
just.
I was like, you know what,
Power
guys, you
through
guys
it.
have been sweet.
I mean, she I think what they were implying was that she got it in case it happened
in
again.
case it
and
happened
yeah,
again, yeah. No,
yeah.
I told her, I said, okay, I worked on what I wanted to work on. You guys good?
Wow.
Just eating shit. The comic that chewed me out on stage, he
Uh-huh.
later, I was thinking about this the other day because I was like, oh, I feel grateful for like where I am right now. I'm trying to like be like happy about where I am at comedy. And he literally posted something like way back when this happened. He was like, yeah, all these people have been coming out to me about how much they hate her. I can't wait to see that ship sink. And I'm like, still floating, bitches. Still bobbing.
Have you been in touch with this individual?
No,
Who's-
they moved away.
They're headlining my next show.
Oh, really?
No, I don't know.
Oh,
who you're
okay.
talking
You
about.
might know. You probably know him.
Really?
Yeah. Everybody knows him.
Is
He's
his name
a headliner.
Mile Manane? I'm just joking.
No.
Just joking.
Kyle's great.
Yeah,
Shout out to
he's-
Kyle. We just
Shout out to
Yeah,
Kyle.
he
He
said
just-
he's gonna come on when the
Oh, yeah,
stars
he's-
align.
He said he's gonna do the facial recognition comedy podcast on Paul Antonio.
He did, and then who
Yeah.
else said they're gonna do it? What's his name?
Sandy?
No. Who had the
I love Sandy.
who
Brady?
has the top show here?
Frangelo.
Yeah.
Franjola?
Yeah, Frangela.
Did I say Frangelo?
Frangella.
What did I say? I don't know.
You said it so confidently too.
I,
Hey,
CPU
you say things
family,
like that, and the
man.
ship goes a little deeper in the water. All right, Frangelo. I like Chris Frangiola. Shout out.
Yeah.
What is it? Frangelo? Frangelo?
I've never heard of him. I guess we could put him on.
Anyway.
Yeah, we have like
whatever,
30
I don't
minutes left,
care.
right? If you can make it here in like 15.
I'll call
This
him.
is
Yeah, we
not
gotta
live
see.
streamed.
Yeah.
It's not like.
Hey,
it's
Chris,
not like
call in if
tune
you're listening.
Chris, yeah.
I mean, I
if
didn't
you're
know if he's
listening
here.
at the door, come in.
Oh, you're making a shit again.
Yeah, I thought he was the one who took the shit.
Wow, it really is almost midnight.
Yeah, this is.
Okay,
humor.
so those are the worst things that we've seen.
I was definitely in a different headspace 12 hours ago.
Yeah.
In the same chair.
Yeah.
It kind of smelled the same though.
You
There's
know,
like a waft
Can
of it.
the shit wasn't that bad, man. Like you went over the top with the suit and the gloves and the trucks and the lights, and then you called the cops.
I wore my apron. I called the cops.
It was just like
there's like a barbecue Becky picture of him.
Yeah, man. It's like, look,
You're like, just because the shit was brown. That's the only reason why. Racism? Oh, maybe.
I just shook my head at Paul. I'm like, no,
Maybe
Paul.
like
Maybe
the
not.
ground was shaking when he was cleaning that shit. It's just like you were drilling a hole or something. It was.
I feel like we're not gonna get away from this. So I'm just gonna let you guys get it out.
That homeless guy got
You
it out
had
all
to
over
be
my
there.
welcome
I
mat.
know.
All right.
What?
So the homeless guy got it out all over
You
the
keep
welcome
blaming a
mat.
homeless person, but it could have been me. You don't know.
Like I said, homeless person. but-
Hey, I
No,
live in a
sure.
storage room.
Like that's.
You live in a
That's
pod?
room.
You live in a pod on a driveway?
I live in technically, well, it's kind of an open space, but it's there.
Does it have a
It's
door?
inside a building.
It's kind of an open
Does it-
space. It's more of a park.
My
But
door
I
is
live there.
a curtain.
Does it have a
But-
wall?
It has a wall.
One?
It has two
What?
full walls.
Is one of those
Three
walls a
full walls.
headboard?
Yes. I'm a fuckboy. You mean we know this?
Are there
now.
4 poles and cloth? Because that's
Yeah.
a tent. All right, follow me.
No,
That is a tent.
but no, I'm kidding.
Oh my god.
I do have some curtain door, but yeah, I live. Where
Can
do
you stand in your room?
parts of it? The part I give the part that's not the spot where the bed is, which is most of the room.
You know, I still don't
Listen,
have a
comedy's
vision.
going great for me. Didn't I say I was just grateful just now for how good comedy's going?
I'm
Do you
just
hook up in
imagining
your
a bed
room?
on stilts right now.
You hook up in your room?
Yeah, but I don't fuck dudes over 6 feet. We've talked about this. I can't, okay? I don't
have
want
the-
them to hit
Well,
their
not
head.
there.
You have the
Yeah.
Disneyland ride requirement sign?
Yes.
You're
I
like-
only fuck shorties. What up, shorty?
Or if you're tall, you better be ready for some concussions, all right?
Yeah. You better bend over.
Get some CTE in that pussy. All right. Was that too far?
Paul, I don't even know what that means.
CTE?
I know what CTE is, but I don't know what
And
get
that-
some
and that-
CTE in that pussy means.
Not in that pussy, and that pussy.
Oh, and that pussy.
Yeah.
What the
Yeah.
fuck are you guys talking about?
CTE.
CTE.
Yeah, what's CTE?
It's the head trauma that football players get.
Oh,
Yeah.
well,
I
that
got-
would have.
We're
Been
talking
nice
about
to
concussions
know.
with the
Yeah.
Fizz is looking at me like she has CTE right now. she's about to slap
Listen
a
to the last.
wife.
Well, it's like, you know, taking that big shit outside just took it out of me. It just, you know, it's you exert too hard and
I like that. On the last facial recognition, Fizza comes out as having CTE.
Oh, that'd be so sad. Oh man.
So shit, guys.
Yeah, didn't someone like stab themselves?
No, they didn't stab themselves. Are you talking about outside the mic?
No, I'm talking. I'm
Wow.
still on CTE, but now I'm thinking.
Oh,
instead of
there's a lot
talking
of,
about
like-
CTE symptoms, I think I might be experiencing.
Yeah. That's what I just said, and I
I
know,
know,
that you
but-
have it because you repeated it.
No, I'm It's the processing, man. It's the CTE processing.
Symptom
There's
number
a-
1.
there's
Do
a
you have
delay.
ponytails?
Pigtails.
Symptoms are pigtails. God
Guys keep
damn it.
calling them ponytails.
Sorry,
They're pigtails.
I have no hair.
Whose
Don't you
idea
know-
was it
don't
to
you
record
fucking
at
know
11
farm
p.m.?
animals?
I have no hair.
It was my idea
Why?
because we thought we were gonna have a really important guest.
And she didn't.
And
show
I'm here,
up.
guys.
She didn't
so-
show up because she's very busy. And we're really glad to have Paul here, I guess.
I've
The
seen Paul
paulantonio.com.
twice today. This is my third time seeing Paul. This is like a lot of Paul.
At the Paul
Wow.
Antonio on Instagram.
I get
Thank you guys very
cranky at
much.
night if I'm like this is a different side of me, guys.
Let it out, girl.
Yeah, just pretend like we're at a slumber party.
Yeah. Oh, let's bitch. Who do we want to
Yeah,
bitch about?
yeah. What's up, ladies? Let's bring it all out.
Is
let's
that
get
how
all
you
the
talk to women?
let's get all this shit out on
at
the.
night? You're like, "What's up, ladies?"
That's why I talk to him when I'm in bed. That's my pillow talk.
That's your
Can we
pillow. What's up,
just-
lady?
Hey,
Is this wrong? Can
Wow.
you said sleepover. This is
She got her feet up and everything.
my
Look,
favorite
listen,
part.
Our culture didn't teach us that.
My
okay.
favorite part is gonna
every
be
every episode. I'm just gonna look more and more like I'm like in a bed.
no. It's all the things that the fans are gonna edit into your socks because they're green screens.
Yeah, you're gonna be on Wiki. That's gonna be on Wiki Feet pretty soon.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Give me a good rating.
She's just holding her feet up.
For the
Can you hear
audio
her
listeners.
feet over the?
I'll describe what's going on for the audio listeners.
I saw this
You have to watch the
Twitter
YouTube, guys.
post of this little black kid, and he was sitting on an airplane, and his dad was like taking the video of him, and he saw like a woman's white foot right behind him, and he's like, "Are you kidding me? There's a foot!" And he was like so loud. He's like, "That's a white lady. Put her foot up right behind me." And the dad was just like crying, laughing, and the lady was like, "Oh," like moved it. I love
sorry.
kids. Yeah, I love when kids are just like say all the shit that you want to say.
Yeah.
Because there aren't like repercussions for them. They're so honest.
Oh my God, Samora has a really good joke about that, but I don't want to butcher it. But it's really funny.
Well, turn this off.
Yeah,
It's like
Go look up some more.
Yeah, stop listening to this.
yeah.
Go
No, I
look
mean,
it up.
listen. Like the gist
Have
of
a
it
good
was
night.
something like some guys like asked a question to a kid like, "What do you think about this? I got this." I got a haircut or whatever, and the kid's like, "Oh, that looks nice. What about? Are you gonna fix your teeth or something?" Like,
Oh, okay.
It was way funnier than that.
But it's like, yeah, they offer more information than you
Yeah.
ask for.
Don't worry, I could edit this out. We're fine.
Paul's gonna edit the whole episode out. It's
Yeah.
just gonna be Paul. He's like, "Welcome to my podcast."
That is
Shit on
fine.
the sidewalk.
That would be a really funny
All
April
of
Fool's
this
joke if
just-
you just like put up your own podcast instead of ours.
Fizz has done my podcast. It was dreadful when she did it. Like the
What?
situation, not
Oh.
you. The situation.
Yeah,
Is
no,
that-
there was a lot of tension
There's a
within
lot of
internal tension
Oh,
with
with
their
you guys?
podcast.
Yeah.
You've witnessed tension with our podcast. Which one's worse?
Mine was
Really?
because there was a host sleeping with other hosts involved, and
Yeah.
that's not as
I
prevalent on this
had
show.
a great time on the podcast,
It was
but
fun.
they seemed stressed.
Is that still
Yeah.
happening?
No.
Oh,
My
okay.
podcast
I
is
was
still
about to be like,
happening.
"Can I co-host?"
Yeah, can
Are you
listen to
gonna
my
get
podcast.
a little boomerang for the
Of your feet?
Insta? Yeah, I got the feet
I'm not
up.
trying to get those
Commands?
followers on my on Comedy Pop-Up's Instagram. They're like, post more of Fizzle with her feet up.
Do you get DMs about us on Comedy Pop Up?
No, want to know the only person I get DMs about?
Who?
And it's actually not when I
We're so
Brown
disappointed.
Jello. Crown Jello.
brown jello. No, the only person I get DMs about is but it's on my personal page, is when I post things with Candace.
Oh, she's cute.
Candace Thompson. Everybody sends me hard eyes.
She's great.
Yeah. You guys are great too. But Candace Thompson.
But Candace
Sorry.
Thompson, though.
They send the hard eyes. No, we could. I'm sure we could get a band of feet fetish dudes. To
Okay, so
listen to
like,
the
can we
podcast.
talk about feet a little bit?
Yeah, let's talk
Feet are
about
I'm
gross.
into Why? So you think feet are gross? Why do you think? Oh, I love that. Can you?
I don't know if this filter's gonna work on you, Paul. It's too far away.
Hey, what's up, ladies?
It's the sunglasses.
All right,
So
ladies.
yeah, she's doing a Instagram thing.
This show has reached a new
Okay,
low.
let's talk about feet fetish.
Yeah. Okay. So Paul thinks feet are gross. I think feet are dope. But I think it is possible to, because I've dated men with less than desirable feet. Like they wouldn't be the subject of my foot porn, but like, I've been in love with men with less than desirable feet. I'll just say that, so it's possible.
This is your way of telling the fan base you're not shallow. You're like, I will date you.
Well, didn't
if
I
you
just
have
say
fucked up
like
feet."
okay, like I said, I date a dude in a wheelchair. I date a little person. I'm open minded. I don't like.
You date a little person?
Yeah,
Did
I
you
used to
talk
actually have
about
a crush on a little person, a
And
comedian,
then dated
little
him?
person.
Oh,
Is he famous?
Probably.
I mean,
I think I know who it is.
yeah.
There's
I mean,
only one.
I think he's married now or something. Yeah. No, I
be
mean,
honest.
I'm not ashamed. I was, like I think he's a good looking guy. He's a
Does his
sharp
name,
guy.
does
I
his
think
name
he's
rhyme with Mad Milliams?
I think it's weird.
Yeah.
I think it's
No,
weird
it's
that
Brad.
you have to.
Yeah, it's
I
Brad.
think
Brad.
you.
I knew it was Adam Ray.
I
No, I
think
think Brad's super cute.
I think it's weird that we have
Nice
to be,
guy,
we
too,
have
very
to
funny.
say that we're okay with like it's just bodies. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's weird that we have to be like I would do that, cuz like
Yeah.
people, I don't know, people are dumb.
What do you mean?
Like like it's like fucking Peter Dinklage is hot as fuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's weird that we have to be like I would date like a little person, I would date someone with
Oh,
a
yeah.
disability. Like that should already be,
Well,
people
yeah,
should be less
it's
shallow
like
is what I'm saying.
I said that, and someone was like, "Oh, you're open minded," and it's just like, well,
no, I'm a person.
yeah. I mean, but society is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm like, Brad's super cute. Peter Dinklage is super cute.
Those are the only ones we know. We're just
Lieutenant-
naming.
And hey, on the
We're
bright
just
side-
naming.
Lieutenant Dan's fine as fuck.
Oh yeah.
On the bright side, that's all that would fit in Pallavi's bed. So
Bring it back. Hey,
Damn.
Shawty, what up?
shit on the sidewalk. What's up, everybody?
Damn, but
At the
could you-
Paul Antonio.
But could you get him up there though? Could you get him
That's
up
so
there?
funny because I was tagging you in this and I was like, "What's his Instagram?" And then you
Yeah.
immediately said it as I was trying to find it.
Thank you for following me, Pallavi. Thank you.
Yeah.
This
Thank you.
is this is
Good. I like it.
our tour de force
I've
episode.
only been recording for 3 years.
This is the episode
It's
where
okay.
No, we have not. How did you miss our anniversary? It was in April or May.
It just
I
feels
don't
like 3
remember.
years, right?
Wow. This is,
Yeah.
I mean, we don't always
Paul.
have to be deep. Sometimes we could just be fucking.
Nah, this is a good episode. I like it.
I like it too.
This is an active criticism during the show.
this is
Uh,
a lot.
What
I
comics?
wonder.
What comics do you guys have problems with?
What comics do I have
Oh,
problems with? That's funny.
are we calling people out?
This could be like the slumber
I
party.
feel like
episode.
people have problems with me, but I don't have like I just don't give a fuck. I'm too busy.
Who has problems with you now?
me for not
You
following
know
me
who?
back.
You know.
Oh,
There's like the.
Who do you want to call out?
I don't want to call anybody out.
Oh,
That's the thing is like I feel like it's all petty and it's like miscommunication and like whatever. Like if it's not like fucking rapists, but if it's like just like like people not getting along, it's like we're gonna forget about it and like we're in this for the long haul. Like there's no
Yeah.
reason to make enemies.
I feel like everybody talks shit about everybody.
do they?
Yeah.
I
A
don't
lot
talk
of people
shit,
talk
man.
shit.
I mean, like if I had a chart of all the comics I knew, I could match up at least one person that's talked shit on every single one of those comics, except me because I'm good.
Because you're perfect.
Nobody
'Cause
talks shit. They just do
Perfect
shit
Paul.
around you.
There was 8 people at my show. No, it's just they tell me
Paul,
to my
you're on
face.
so many podcasts. You've heard all this shit. And that's the thing is like there's so
Yeah.
many podcasts that you could just talk shit and no one would really like what are you
Yeah.
gonna do? Filter through everything?
I've been talking shit on every show.
Yeah.
So just it's up to the because I know you guys aren't gonna listen. So
See, I just talk about how cute people are, like Brad being fine.
you call me cute, but now that you said that Brad and Peter and Lieutenant Dan, I'm on that level.
Well, no, I don't have a type. I just like interesting,
Because you,
looks.
Pallavi looked at me like, what are
I'm
you
like,
talking
what
about?
did you mean you're on that level? Like, this is also inappropriate.
She's like, you know what? Like when somebody talks about you, like if you had a handicap, where they're like, you know what? I would date Paul. It's like it's the same in the same vein as like
Well, like
But
Peter
that's not.
Dinklage?
But that's not like that's what I'm saying is like that.
It shouldn't be like that. It
Yeah.
shouldn't be like that.
Yeah, like you shouldn't be like insulted by that.
yeah, I mean, like I'd consider like a male winner of America's Next Top Model as much as I'd consider like like a guy in a
Yo,
wheelchair.
I would consider them less because they're probably fucking annoying.
Yeah, I mean the one I dealt with.
Oh yeah, you dealt with one.
Oh, I did a show at Haha, and he was in the audience, and he hit me up after, and he's like, "Oh, good." So then we just started talking, but like then it went into like it went into like sort of he was interested, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
I suspected he had a whole entire wife and child.
What
Yeah.
time was it?
Huh?
Do you remember the time that he was in the DMs?
Oh, like daytime, nighttime.
oh yeah.
Well, because I have a rule: if you hit me up after 2 a.m., you're seeing my dick. And
What?
Yeah.
Bitch,
it's-
I book shows at
Sorry,
night.
wait.
Yeah.
Sorry, Grandma. If you have an emergency, I'm sorry. Just don't hit me up after 2.
That's bullshit.
no, but he was doing the hitting me up.
I have
like,
work to
didn't-
do. Let me be awake at night and do my work.
I'm
I'm
not,
tired
like-
of these mornings.
No, but I feel like not saying obviously you guys are different, but I'm
I did
saying
get dick pics.
weapon
I did get a dick pic.
from him.
And I thought really he was sending me a pic of his child. Like I was like, this is.
Because
This
had a
is-
little hat on.
That's how big it was.
I was like, what is?
Had a spinny cap.
I was a cute kid,
It had its
It
own
was-
pacifier. That's crazy.
No, I just don't think it
Damn,
was
bro.
circumcised. It was it had on. Yeah, I don't want to call out the name of the individual because I don't want to I obviously don't want to mess
Just
up anyone's
find the
family
person,
life.
find
but-
her followers, and look
No,
up every
no,
American's
no,
Next
no,
Top
no,
Model.
no, stop.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
And his name was RuPaul.
It was fine. It was because I found out and then I was like, oh, this is
Following you, Paul.
relevant information.
Okay, I'm gonna
So,
block you.
This is the dick.
but yeah, I don't have a type. Is that the point?
No,
I think,
because-
type?
I think I'll have a type for a while, and then it keeps shifting.
Yeah. My theory is that like a type is just sort of, the last sort of person we're stuck on.
I think it's just like who I'm surrounded by.
Yeah.
Because it like depends on like, you're surrounded by in different groups. You're just surrounded by different people. And there's sometimes, more, I don't know, you get used to certain personality types or whatever. But
I feel like you will always be attracted to what you actively put in the universe that you don't want. If that makes sense. So like I used to talk
what you're pretending to fight against.
so like I used to talk about like single moms.
Yeah.
I would never date a single mom, and then I got involved with a single mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
it's like that kind of energy. I would never do blah, and then that.
Well, yeah, because it's
thing
like you have
comes
to
to your
ask
life.
yourself, why is it so charged? Why is it never? Why are you writing it off? So like, what's
Yeah, I guess.
there's
but,
a pull there, right?
well, it's also that phenomenon that's when
Phenomenon. Phenomenon.
What you- when you hear something for the first time. When you hear something for the first time and then you start seeing it everywhere in life.
That phenomenon is named after a cult that someone saw in like it's a cult from the 70s. I forget what it's called, but they saw it and then they kept seeing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot what
It's named after the cult, not the person. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that sucks.
But they named it. It was stupid.
Yeah. I would name it the Paul phenomenon.
Yeah, I know.
Just so my name's
you'd be
there.
like it's the Paul Antonio phenomenon.
ThePaulAntonio.com for my dates.
Okay.
So
This bitch.
So yeah, but it's kind of like the same thing, right? I don't know. I'm trying to drive the conversation while posting an Instagram story. So.
Yeah, you see it everywhere. No, but I think it's because you're denying what you're drawn to. You're methinks he doth protest too much.
Maybe. Well, the big thing that happened a couple months ago was like comics. Like then again, I'm a young comic. Like I'm only 3.5 years in, but it took like. I was like, I would never date a comic, blah, blah, blah. And then I started dating a comic. But it was like, it's because you realize that they know, like,
Your
the world more.
yeah.
You know? So you vibe. Because I had dated people that were like, you hang out with other people but me, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, but that's part of my job.
Yeah.
You know?
I just, like, I've never had that, like, I'll never date a blank. I've never had, like, that limitation I've placed on myself. Have you? Like... I mean,
no,
like
I don't think so. I mean, I at first lied about not dating comics because too many male comics were coming at me. So I'd be like, oh, I don't date comics, just to kind of like, I never lie, but like to get them away from me. And so I said that, and also like because of a protective issue. But I don't think I don't like the never thing, because you have no idea. You're a fucking different person like 5 years from now, like
even
you
less.
constantly change.
Like, I'm a different person, like, than I was this morning.
Yeah.
So
So I feel like you can't, like, limiting yourself is just like...
The man I'm attracted to tonight is not the same man I would be attracted to this morning.
Yo, can we talk about how, like, I can't have a crush anymore? Like, do you
Wait,
guys,
what?
I don't have,
What?
I'll be, like, into someone, but it's, like, very light. I just,
Yeah.
like, I'm not, like, I think I'm not, like, open, or I'm just, like, busy, or I don't know what it is, but I'm just, like, I have the hardest time, like, even maintaining crushes.
Well, like,
like, that's how little of commitment
How
I have.
consuming are your crushes? Because
I, like, see if they checked my Instagram story, and then, like, even I told you I had a crush on someone, and I, like, moved on from that. And that was, like, 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. It's crazy.
So, like, what's the point of the crush? It's just sort of like a little comfort.
I guess, but it used to like lead to something, and I think maybe it's just I'm used to it not leading to anything, so I'm just like, nah.
You're pessimistic. You're a
Yeah, but it's-
pessimistic lover.
I'm not like, oh, we're gonna have a baby when I have love. I'm not pessimistic like that.
Oh, okay. I wanted to make it more dramatic than it was.
I
but
know,
really
but I
wasn't.
think I'm just like I don't consider them like serious options.
Yeah, I mean, and I
Anymore.
think that's part of growing up.
That's boring. I want to be like, oh my god, I like him. Did he see my thing? I haven't felt like that in so long.
That is the
I
nicest
mean,
feeling, though. When you look for
it's
people to watch your
fun.
story. I used to be.
I do that, but I'm just like dead inside. I'm like, oh, they looked at it, whatever. I'm just like,
Well, because it's like ultimately it's just crumbs, It's just like it's not like a fulfilling, nurturing form of connection.
That's our show, everybody. Good night. Good night from the facial
Paul
recognition.
Damn.
Paul just called me out in his Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
Damn, you guys are like social media.
He said it only took 4 years of recording the facial recognition comment to get that follow. when he
Fucking
tagged me.
4 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you in your 30s now, Paul?
Yeah. No, but I mean, I was, you know what? I will tell you guys this. I finally, this is a couple months ago, I actually started liking somebody because of their personality for the first time in my life.
Really? Wait, how old are
Yeah.
you?
I'm 25.
He's
Oh, interesting.
I'm a
I
baby.
only liked people for their personalities, and then now I got shallow because I was just like, if you're gonna be an asshole, you better have a 6-pack.
Really?
Yeah. Because I've been. I think. Did you get more shallow later on?
I don't think I've really been shallow. I just need to be attracted to the person.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I'm not.
Just not their feet.
I like good feet. I like good hands. I love good hands.
Hands to me are more important
I
than
love
feet.
good feet. I don't know. I look at the whole package. You know, like I don't have like a standard.
Yeah.
I'm just like okay.
I
this?
remember one time I knew I was gonna be with this girl for a while because like the first time we held hands, I looked and I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, that looks right.
Oh wow.
So it's about the
hand
look.
type,
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I was like, it looks like I should be holding her hand. It's
So
super
that's
weird.
a red
but
flag because actually, like, I dated someone and
Who had
one
no
of the-
hands?
he had no hands. That's my type. That's absolutely my type. One time an ex saw me in a picture with another ex and didn't know I was dating that ex, and the guy had an eye patch, and he's like, "Oh my god, she's definitely dating him." Because he has an eye patch.
'Cause he had a-
He has one eye, yeah.
I feel like that's interesting though.
I have a thing for that.
For eye
I have a bit
patches?
about it too.
How do you
I have a
feel
disfigurement.
about?
I have a thing for disfigurement.
That's interesting because you talk about how you view yourself and how you have
Ah.
like trouble viewing yourself and like your like the dysmorphia stuff.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then you have a thing for disfigurement. And I'm wondering
Well, like
if you're
attracts
trying to
like.
like
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
it's
trying to
like
completely
reconcile
related.
it.
Yeah, like
Wow, I'm a therapist now.
I only date. Here's
I
one.
mean, look, someone told me they were like when I was with that dude, they were like, well, "You deserve a guy with 2 eyes," and then I was like
What?
ting like,
That's weird.
That's
you know, I
racist.
was
Was
think,
he
yeah,
trying to fuck you?
no, like it was a woman who
2020
said that, and it was
baby.
because
That's
like,
weird.
well, it was because like it, and you know, like how friends try to, you know, when a dude does something, women are all like, "Yeah, fuck that guy. You deserve a guy with 2 eyes."
Oh, was he shitty?
When are guys?
Not shitty?
Yeah,
Good point.
No, I mean, look, I don't.
Was the you deserve a guy with 2 eyes in reaction to them being shitty?
I don't like saying it was shitty. I think that's a little simplistic, but like,
Yes, I'm trying to be simplistic.
Yeah, no,
I'm
I know, I
completely
get it.
generalizing.
but like, yeah, like I could see why my friends would have been pissed at him because I was, you know, at the time.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But I'm just
Yeah.
asking, yeah, if it was them like lashing out at him separate from
I think it was some of both. You know, I
Okay.
think he had some of it coming, and then also like, you know, everyone projects their own shit. Like, yeah, I ate men too.
Yeah.
They say I
Fuck
ate
men.
men. I ate men.
Fuck men.
I eat
Right.
men.
Right, sisters.
Yeah, this is devolving.
It's a fun one.
I
have.
I don't. Am I even speaking right now?
You're here.
are.
You're here.
Is I'm. Yeah. Okay. I'm back.
Don't you think that? I feel like people won't. The
So
main
tired.
things that people won't date, like the main characteristics you look, are definitely your insecurities that you have with yourself. So like for me,
Yeah.
Oh.
People who don't like feet don't like their own feet. That's what it is.
I like my feet.
What,
Do
wait,
you?
What won't I date?
But you know what? I only date, and this is gonna sound super shallow. It's true. I'll only date. I'm just being real.
Say
being
it.
100. I'll only date like really skinny girls.
Oh.
That's my thing. Like even if a girl, oh, she's thick, she's dumb. I'm like, I'm not into that. Why? Because I'm skinny. So no, but because I've had weight issues in my
Yeah.
life. So to me, I find like skinniness is attractive to me
Yeah.
because that's what I want. You know?
Interesting.
Yeah.
But then if you get skinny and you're dating someone skinny, then your hip bones are gonna hurt. you need some cushion for
you're-
the pushing.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Someone
my,
has to have some cushion.
Yeah.
My ex was
As you're
5'2",
clanging around in there.
5'2", 95 pounds.
Well, he gets skinny, then he's gonna want a thick woman.
Yeah.
I'm a thick bitch.
It's
I
yin,
need
yin and
tempo.
yang.
Yeah, yin and yang. She's in Koreatown. I like her.
What do I literally was like, I was laughing because she's losing it. I'm
killing over here at the Paul Antonio.
Because I was like, what won't I date? And I couldn't think of anything.
You're like, yep.
What am I insecure? I'm insecure about like everything about
What's
me.
the biggest
Wait,
thing?
bitch, you weren't following me either? Fuck you. He's complaining about me not following if this bitch hadn't been following me either.
I'm sorry. I care about my ratio. So
Is your ratio
Care about your
on
body
point?
count?
the funny thing is I think I follow Zara. So and she doesn't follow me back. So
Wow. So this is a thing.
don't unfollow me.
Damn.
Well, what's the biggest thing that if you see it like on a dating app or something, like you will swipe, whatever way.
Dating apps are so boring.
But I don't.
But I mean, just in general.
Oh, do you know what's funny?
What's the thing
The
that's
thing
like
that I
nope.
swipe left on more than anything
Yeah.
is like religion and astrology. Because I'm just like, if you don't have a belief system where you like can think in the way, or if I don't know, for me, like being like logical and practical
Yeah.
is like really important for me, and like being able to, because I grew up in Utah, and like a lot of times people would start their arguments or their conversations from the perspective of someone who believes in like the Bible or like the Book of Mormon or something, and I'm like, well, I can't even entertain this conversation with you because your arguments are coming out of this thing that I don't believe in at all.
Yeah.
And so like it's hard for me with that belief system, and it was a thing like my family members, like there was a point at which an older family member called me and they were like, yo, I'm suffering from heartbreak because I fell in love with this person who was religious, and like that's not the way our minds work, because like he understood me.
Yeah.
And I was like, since then I was like, oh, this is a thing for me. Like this is
Yeah.
a thing that separates me from people around me.
Plus, there's always a thing of the heartbroken looking for, like, you project your perfect mate or your perfect partner in somebody that's not that.
Yeah.
So, like, you're like, oh, I love this person, blah, blah, blah. I can look past this thing, but then it becomes an issue. It's just because you're trying so desperately to meet the person that's in your head going to make you
Yeah, I
happy.
mean,
And that belief system is such a big part of them. Like it reflects on like the children. It's like, I think it's the thing, like religion, finances, those are like some of the big reasons people get divorced, right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's hard. I mean, like I would date like any ethnicity, any whatever, but it's just like if your brain doesn't work the way my brain works, it's going to be, I mean, it doesn't have to work exactly the same, but if we can't even communicate.
Yeah. I think the hardest thing I've had is when I meet people that are similar to people from my past. So I assume they're going to be the same person.
Oh yeah, that's tough.
know?
That's just sort of like the
Labeling.
situation where like guys won't like treat you well because you remind them of an ex that broke
Something
their
like
heart or
that.
something.
Yeah. And it's
That's-
rough.
Yeah, I mean,
You know
look,
what?
I
Guys
think
believe all men.
Look,
that's
we're
what
only-
that's what I'm here to say.
Paul,
Sorry,
we're
your
only-
mic dropped out.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
Paul, you're only capable of giving of the love you're able to give yourself.
Yeah. That's what lonely people say. I'm just joking.
I'm not lonely.
No, well, it's funny. Like I had a homie that told me the other day.
Yeah.
He was like, he said, he's like, I don't have that big of a dick, but I could eat pussy really well. And I was like, that's exactly what people with little dicks say, that they can eat
Yeah.
pussy really
That's
well.
the thing, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a compensation.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just like I was just in such a long-term relationship for like half of my 20s that I wanted for so long so desperately to be single. That,
Yeah.
Like
That's crazy to me.
I just really enjoy being single.
Yo, I'm loving it right now.
Yeah.
Mhm. What was your guys' longest relationships?
Almost 4 years.
Almost 5.
Yeah. See, I can't even fathom that. Mine was like 1.5 years.
Yeah, I mean that's a long time also. I mean I think a month is a long time in LA.
Until my relationship of almost 4 years, the longest I'd had before that was 10 and a half months.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
comes at you.
I had like a 2-year one before that, but
Mm-hmm.
like
But it's also
Yeah.
like, have you guys heard Ron Taylor's bit about dating he's with a girl, but then like he's starting to get some heat behind him, and she's just like, I'm just scared that like you're not gonna want to date me after you become famous. And he's like, what are you talking about? Of course I don't want to date you. He's like, I got you when I was here. I want to see what I can get when I'm over there.
yeah.
I feel that. I feel
Really?
that. Yeah.
I think guys feel that a lot.
Yeah.
Well, because you're always looking for like my main vice. It's not even a vice, but like my main thing is like when I do get in a relationship, I'm always like, all right, now what can I get? You know?
Like somebody else.
Yeah, and it always like kind of sabotages
But why do you
shit.
do that? Do you think like, because that's very much like living in the future, right?
Yeah. No, absolutely. But it's also like
Do you do that with other things?
not really. But I feel like guys, at least personally
So
speaking.
that's a pattern. That's a pattern that can be destructive because you leave collateral.
Yeah, and you could mess up a
Yeah.
good thing. You know, I broke up with a chick last year that was basically we had been dating for 3 months, and I told her, I said, hey, look, this relationship's probably gonna only last a year, so we should probably just end it now. And I broke up with her like thinking for the future. You know. I don't know. I feel like some guys are into the conquest, quote unquote conquest. I
No,
think it's a very
the
male
chase.
trait, the chase.
So then when
yeah.
the chase ends, then where's the incentive?
Yeah. Or it's like
The game's over.
the girls that I think about the most are the ones that I couldn't make it happen with, you know, or
That's
like
a
the chick that
thing.
I dated that I never slept with. Like they're still on my mind as like failures, you know. So I think it's a
hate
very
that.
male thing. I'm a fuckboy, so
I actually called the police
Are you?
on you.
No. You call the police on
yeah.
me.
Just now I was calling the fuckboy police. Just you can hear the sirens in the
Oh, I
back.
just
Alright,
thought
guys.
someone took a shit again.
Yeah. I just took a shit on
Paul
this podcast.
over some girl's heart.
I verbally took a shit on this podcast right now.
That's
I
it's
think we
it's
all
really
verbally took a shit on this podcast.
In case you're listening,
And
it's now 6
continue.
a.m. the next morning.
it's really shitty though, like how that's a thing. It's just like you can't appreciate the person that you're with,
Yeah.
and that sucks for both parties. Because
Yeah.
like I've seen men who've done that and they've like cheated and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and then once they lost what they had, they were like, oh fuck, like I fucked this up.
Yeah.
like
But that's also what separates the fuck boys from the regular dudes are like if they're willing to cheat. You know, like I've never cheated,
Yeah.
not because like I didn't want to, but it's because I had like respect and restraint, and I was like, no.
yeah.
If I was a fuck boy, then I would have cheated. I feel like that's what separates. But I feel like most guys have, and just speaking from the people that I know, that innate kind of thing of like, okay, like they're never truly happy in a situation. I mean, I have friends that got married and stuff, and they're super happy. But like a lot of the people my age that I talk to are like, I mean, the way that they talk about things, you're like, oh, okay, you're not in a settle down mode, you know?
Well, you're a young guy,
Yeah, I'm 12.
so you still have a year. You still have a year till you're 13,
year.
14,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm ready to settle down.
Yeah.
Bar mitzvah.
Yeah,
You guys want to come to my bar mitzvah show? Kyle Kinane's headlining.
You're a man.
Yeah, it's but I'm also getting to like, I mean, I have like a baby in my life,
Yeah.
which is crazy.
Oh, you're dating a woman with a child?
No,
my
his
nephew.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so like I have a little thing to care
The
about. now.
cutest kid in the world.
The joke that I tell on stage is that I didn't bust a nut for that kid, and it sucks. I feel like whenever you get a kid in your life, you should bust a nut.
Women don't.
I mean,
It's sad.
That was good.
you just gotta make it happen for yourself sometimes.
Yeah.
You can't really rely on people.
Do you think it's a good technique for me to take my nephew to the park and pretend that the mom died?
For what? What are you trying to? Are you?
Get that single dad puss.
Oh, you're trying to get single out. I thought you were trying to abduct someone,
Oh no.
like lure
What?
them. Yeah, I was gonna say yeah, Paul.
Jesus.
Wait, what are you talking about?
Yeah, how'd you take it that
Laura-
direction?
We were talking
You're
about.
talking about let me bring a kid in the park and
I was trying to get some pee. You're over here talking about.
Whoa, wait.
If you
she
wanna
can't refer to
hide-
me as P, and then you also refer to P as pussy in the same episode, okay?
and both of your guys.
We mean the same thing.
Paul.
God damn it!
No, but yeah, I'm half serious about that. about the park thing.
Paul, your fuckery's coming out in this podcast.
Yeah, dude, what's
like,
happening?
See what happens
my
when you let me
sweet pork
talk.
bun.
We're gonna name this Paul. Your fuckery is coming out.
And if you guys want to hear more of this fuckery,
Can,
tune
like,
into Spaced Out.
Two of our podcasts have fuck in the title back to back. If we
I don't
do
care.
that,
Nah,
No.
you should be-
Audience, call in. Tell
We-
us what you think.
we have the little E after facial recognition for explicit
Yeah.
on our thing. I was like, oh, we're bad.
We bad.
We're
Oh,
bad.
we bad.
We're bad.
Oh shit.
All right, we got 10 minutes left. What else do you guys want to talk about?
I want to talk more
Paul.
about your fuckery because it's.
You could grill
Do
me.
you?
Okay,
'Cause
this
I'm
is
getting depressed.
this is your opportunity
Oh,
to.
yeah, I really do hate talking. Oh,
Oh.
I talked to dudes
What happened? What I do?
about sex. Like I was in
Paul.
this like conversation where guys were treating me like one of the boys, and I was like, this is the saddest fucking thing because like the way they were talking about sex and about women and about like literally trying to like trick them. Like it was I don't know. It was just I was so disappointed.
Has
I was like,
someone
I don't want to be in the boys club.
But that's fuck
Has
boy
anyone
stuff,
ever done
too.
like a bit about how like all the terms for having sex with a woman are all like physical, like
Yeah.
aggressive verbs?
Yeah, they have.
Smash,
I've heard
bang.
I've heard this on
hit.
Anna Faris and somebody else were
Yeah.
talking about it, and they changed it, and they're like, I'm gonna start calling it caving dudes.
Yeah.
And like there was another one that was really good too that they came up with, but yeah.
Swallow. Well, no.
I think about that a lot about
Yeah.
like how for
Violent
dudes
it is.
for for dudes how it's just like we're putting it in somewhere, but for chicks it's like you're receiving something into your body.
Yeah, but I don't look at it like cutesy like that. I'm like, I'm gonna get some dick tonight. I'm like, the feeling of it is like really needing to fill a hole. Like I don't know
Yeah.
how to describe it other than that, right? Like, do you know what I mean? Like being horny as a woman is like, I need something in this now, and it's not cute. It's like
It's not cute.
it's not. It's also aggressive for me
Yeah.
at least.
Mhm.
So I don't know.
I'm in a weird place. So I mean, I get it. Well, it's
I mean, sometimes we call it crushing dick. Like,
do we?
yeah,
I mean, I
need to
haven't,
crush.
but I want to.
crush dick.
Yeah.
Cave that man.
I like that.
Let him get
That's
lost
hilarious.
in your cave.
I think I don't know.
that
that
sounds
man.
bad now because that makes it seem.
What do
big.
you call it?
think I'm
What do you call it when
triggered.
that girl jerked off in front of me?
What?
Oh, that was a whole story. Didn't I tell it on this
Is
podcast?
it
A girl
Anyways.
jerked off. I'm sorry. We're losing
Anyways.
Fizza in this.
What
What were you
happened?
saying?
Wait, Fizza, what happened?
No, I'm just
Crushing dick.
crushing dick.
And
No,
she got
go, I
triggered.
just-
Wait, let's
don't-
work through it.
Yeah,
Fizza,
let's
this
figure
is
it
the
out.
perfect time to work through it.
I think I'm having what's it called? Like I'm shutting down.
Mentally?
I mean, it is
Just like
8
not just like spiritually shutting down right now.
Oh, really?
No, not. I mean, it's like I'm tired. I'm hungry.
We we just ate.
Yeah,
Do
but
you
that-
want more of your food?
That was like my one meal
oh,
today.
I see.
Yeah, it's been a long day.
We got to talk about mentally recharging
I
and how
know.
important it is that you get like even here at the studio I do like 14-hour days. It sucks.
Well, it's like just
Yeah.
even compared to like, the podcast I recorded this morning to like, right now, I'm just like this is a different vibe.
Yeah, we should call Brady.
Wait, what was the vibe this morning? Am I making a bad vibe?
I was cleaning
No,
shit this
no,
morning.
no.
I was cleaning shit this morning. That was the
No.
vibe.
It was wild
It's
this
the
morning.
vibe.
It's like right now I think it's like it's late, like we've all had. How long have you been up? What time did you wake up at?
I don't want to talk about it.
I woke up
I-
at like 7 a.m.
I went to bed, but I kept waking up because I kept trying to wake up to record my dirty
Yeah.
science thing, and I just couldn't. And then Bowie fucking peed in the bed, and I had to
Jesus.
go sleep on the futon, and I was trying to like work, and I kept waking up and falling asleep.
So we had a late night anyway because we had our show last night.
Oh,
and
yeah,
then we
and then
got home
after
and all had
that-
to do our own shit, and then like I just
And now I have to go like figure
Yeah.
out how I'm gonna sleep in my bed.
something we can talk about how like everyone from the outside entertainment looks glamorous and it's just not. It's just
I think about
a constant grind, which isn't a bad thing if you love what you do, but like it's it takes a toll.
I think about that with like acting because everybody looks at actors
Yeah.
as like super glamorous, but then like if you look at the logistics of what they do, they just like memorize and say a thing over and over again. They like memorize and block and say a thing, and it's supposed to be filled with emotion and everything, but it's like that's not like crazy out of reach for people to do. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's like it is a skill.
It's a skill, but I'm saying like it's not like I feel like people put it on this pedestal, but it's like it's work. Like
I'll say this, like before I did it, I thought it was easier than it was.
I'm not saying it's
Yeah.
easy. I'm saying that like there are a lot of jobs that are hard
Yeah.
and that it's not a glamorous like amazing like mystical thing. People literally like memorize lines and then like block out and then like repeat it over and over again. And some people are Meryl Streep with it and some aren't, right?
Yeah.
But I mean like fuck it, we don't know how involved construction is just because we don't do it, right? But it's just like I don't think people like the same thing with the science thing. People view it as like very like magical or whatever. But I think when you look at it, like they have to wake up at like 5 a.m. and then they have to like sit in a chair and get makeup done, and that's not like a glamorous thing. It's just like very physical.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, you might have to like. I remember one time I had to shoot like they're like, yeah, you have to wear this crop top. We were shooting in New York and it was 30 degrees.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable.
So like in between shots, like they were throwing towels. Like it was not glamorous at all.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
But the shots looked great. I looked like it was the middle of summer.
Yeah.
It was winter in New York. It wasn't snowing. That's how they pulled it off. But like it was,
But
Yeah.
it's uncomfortable. People are tired.
long hours.
Yeah.
And then you have to like recreate the same, like the moment, the intensity, the intention, the emotion each time. So that itself takes a lot of focus and energy.
I was just
Being present
Yeah.
and completely living a different reality in the moment.
I was just an extra on this like video thing
Yeah.
yesterday, but the whole theme of it was really sad. It was like, I don't want to give it away, but it was like mimicking like some of the political climate and like the effects on like innocent people today. And it was like I was just an extra, and I just had to like look sad in the back, and it was a lot of people on the set were feeling like, I think, emotional and like upset about it, because it's like it reflects what's actually happening.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about like Philip Seymour Hoffman. I forget his last role, but it was was it The Traveling Salesman or something he was doing? He was doing like a really dark role, and he had been doing it for a while, and he's like such a good actor. He was like throwing himself into it, and then he got back into like heroin and stuff, and I was like, fuck, like if you were doing like an emotionally taxing thing like that day after day, like I could see how you would
Heath
slip
Ledger?
back into it. Yeah.
For
I
The
literally
Dark
was
Knight?
watching The Dark Knight today
Yeah.
because I'm doing a podcast about it tomorrow. I was rewatching it, and I was just like, fuck, I love Heath Ledger so much.
Well, it's like that's the thing is. I mean, everyone has a different way of doing it. I mean, it's like it's an art as well as a skill. But like, yeah, it's like people do suffer sometimes.
Yeah.
They do suffer for it, and it's. I don't know. Like, yeah, I used to think that too. Like, you just show up, you do your lines, you do this, but it's just like it's like a zone. It's
Yeah,
like
I'm not-
any sort of like art. There's a zone to get into, and it takes time to sort of and repetition, practice.
But I'm not saying, like, I understand
Yeah.
what you're saying, but like I'm not saying that it's.
Yeah, no, I'm not taking
I understand
it that way.
there's like more to it, but I'm saying
Yeah.
like people look at it as like some magical thing, and it is if you like in the moment for the person acting and for like the people around them or whatever. But like people can get in zones in like any career,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But I just feel like people think it's like all like wonderful and magical, and it's not.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's uncomfortable a lot.
Yeah. I mean, and it's like that's the thing is so much of entertainment is about the presentation. It's marketing.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's about the look. So it's just like, of course, it's gonna look glamorous
Also, like
if that's what you're trying to create.
every aspect of creating glamour is not glamorous. Like
Yeah.
it feels like even when you're crafting Instagram posts, you're like sitting there on the bus, like adding filters to shit and like typing out hashtags.
Sweating
it's
your
so
ass off.
dumb. Like
Yeah.
it's so not cute. And then you look like shit while you're posting a picture that looks amazing.
I say take those
That's
selfies.
my favorite. I'm
Store
like,
them for the winter.
stock this shit up for when I'm like not wearing pants in my house. Like,
Yeah.
and just like look like crazy.
Look, I'm bloated for a quarter of every month,
Me too.
and well, Paul.
Sorry. Sorry, I hadn't said anything in a while.
Paul, I'm unfollowing you.
And it's done.
And out. No,
How many times have you guys followed and unfollowed each other today
it's been a.
in the last
She
hour?
never followed me ever.
minute.
All right.
Oh,
I'm
you
not
didn't
salty
follow him?
about
I
it.
followed him first,
I'm
and
not
then he
salty
followed
about-
me back, and
And
he
then she-
complained before I followed him, but he hadn't been following me.
I'm very particular about my
Yo,
followers. Okay.
Social media and the dynamics behind how it affects friendships or like relationships is stupid.
Yeah. It's a game. That's
It's
what it is
ego.
now.
A lot
It's
of
all a
it's
game.
ego.
Especially
It
like
is actually easier when you think of it as a game. It's more fun. When I think of social media and marketing as a game.
yeah. I
I
mean,
mean, points.
Yeah, sort of like it's not personal. It's just like let's throw this out there, and I think that's it's a numbers game.
but it's bad though. It hurts physical like in-person relationships because like
What does?
I can just
Yeah,
chill and hit
Social
up.
media.
Yeah,
stuff.
I could hit up anybody I wanted 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning to talk to. That's like around, if you see
Yeah.
somebody watch your story and then you're like, oh, what's up, blah blah blah, and then
But how does that hurt the relationship?
because then you're not motivated to see them in person.
Oh,
I feel
interesting.
differently about it
Really?
because I view them as different types of interaction. So I still like yearn for like in-person interaction, even if I like talk to people online.
Well, that's really interesting. So, do you think with guys sometimes that's enough?
I don't know about guys.
Because someone did respond to our thing, like they listened to one of our last episodes where we talked about guys ghosting will still look at your stories, and he said, "Oh well, it's porn.
yeah,
It's porn. It's like no consequence
why
porn. Essentially.
Porn
people
in,
like your posts at like 1 a.m., 2 a.m.
Yeah,
from,
it's
like,
easy.
3 months ago.
It's like if you
Porn
follow a
in-
lot of women, but the stories just play back to back, and you can do whatever you want. So it's like it's a replacement for Maxim. That's what the guy was saying in our inbox.
Oh, that guy jerks off to Instagram
Yeah.
pictures.
But who doesn't? Which man in LA do you know that doesn't? Like, do
don't.
you?
No,
Oh wow,
You don't?
right
I'm
here.
surprised.
No. Unless it's
Interesting.
no, I'm joking. No, I really don't. But it's also I've trained myself, quote unquote,
Yeah.
trained myself to not try and sexualize people I like interact with on a regular
Yeah.
basis because I feel like it's
That's a
unhealthy.
nice boundary.
But it's also like I don't know. I feel differently towards it too. I'm like, who am I to like sexualize this person in a way that, unless you're like talking now, if you're sexting, that's completely different.
Yeah.
Because then that's the point. But if it's like somebody who, because to me that's like some weird non-consensual way of sexualizing somebody.
I have that. That's like a joke that
Yeah.
I have about how I like masturbate to people I know,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like people that would fuck me. But like I don't want to ruin it with them
See, but that's
actually
funny.
fucking
Yeah.
me.
But in that same vein, no pun intended. In that same vein, it's if you
Consensual fantasy.
to me the hottest thing is like when you're talking to someone and like it turns sexual and then you start sex. To me, that's like grade A because then it's like, oh, you already know this person on a regular basis and now you're going there for it.
I'm
So
such
it's
a pussy.
different.
I'm like too professional with people like
Really?
that. Yeah, I won't like initiate like that.
As young as a comic that I am, I've had that with fans on Instagram.
I mean, that's what a lot of guys have.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've had people like approach me that were fans or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
but I also feel weird about that power dynamic.
That's true too. I had a
What I'm saying
chick
is I'm never gonna have sex again. That's what I'm saying.
cement her up.
Done.
It's done. I
You're
had
You're
a-
not-
trawl.
we're gonna fill up the hole, but it's
Yeah,
just gonna
we're
be
gonna fill
filled
that hole. It's never
permanently.
gonna be unfilled
Yeah.
again.
Just
with plastic. No, but I had one chick that was like a
cave
fan.
some cement.
Yeah.
But that's also weird too for dudes.
You've had what?
Well, that's also weird too for dudes. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, not to bring up like the Louis thing, but it's also like the power dynamics thing.
Yeah.
Is it's hard to gauge if you're a dude that's like I had a girl slide into the DMs once that was like that I met after a show. She came up to me. She's like, "Hey, I want to take a picture with you." She was just a fan or whatever. I'd never met her before. She takes a picture with me. Cool, right? Later that night, she hits me up in my DMs and she's just like, blah blah blah, and then she starts like, she's like, "I was so nervous talking to you." I was like, "Why are you nervous talking to me? I'm just a dude." And she's just like, "Yeah, but this, and like we kept going, and then like it turned like sexual." And I was like, "Oh, okay, that's what she wanted."
Yeah.
I don't know, Paul. It's just I see you like a nephew, and it's really this whole. You know what? Maybe this
You
whole
see
conversation.
Paul as a nephew?
Yeah, like a nephew figure. Like it's like all this
A nephew figure.
this sex talk. Like
Don't sex negative him.
no, I know well, it's my programming, it's my conditioning. You
Yeah,
know, like
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
want to, because Paul, you're an adult man
I'm an
with
adult.
with adult needs.
I
But
look-
yeah, just hearing you, just that it tarnishes this pure image I have of you. You know,
I would trust.
It's the baby face.
I think that's what
the
it is.
dimples. Well, it's just like hearing about like the fuck boyness and the. And
But it's also like every dude has that in him
yeah.
for the most part, you know.
Well,
Men are
what
trash.
is it, like a fear of intimacy?
It's definitely has to do with where people are in their lives
Yeah.
too. So like if you're at a point where you're like I've been in happy relationships for sure.
Yeah.
But it's because at that point that's what I wanted. But also most of those, like when you start putting your energy into a relationship, sometimes it could hurt the professional side of you.
Do you
Yeah.
think
If
do
it's
you
not
think
worth it.
being involved in comedy more has brought out your fuckboy side?
No, because being in comedy has made me fat and lowered my prospects. Because I used to be like I was like in college. I was like in the frat boy scene and stuff. Like I'd go.
Were
to all
you
the parties.
really?
Yeah, I wish I still had a
I'm
picture.
shocked.
I used to wear short shorts, like neon
Wait,
orange
how
short
far
shorts.
back into
to
your
party.
Instagram that I now follow?
This is look.
No, that's a new Instagram.
It's 12:20 a.m. This is way too late for me to be hearing about like
Short
short
shorts.
fluorescent shorts.
What time would you like to hear about short shorts? Fizz?
I will send you an email at 12:20 p.m.
You know, like
And then,
just
yeah.
before 5 p.m. Because I feel like I need full processing power to just like.
But that's also what's crazy about like the
Receive what
comedy
you
game.
just told me.
What's crazy about the comedy game and meeting people, like, because the way that we meet everybody
Yeah.
is like we're meeting everybody in the comedy game. We don't know anything about them before.
Yeah.
So like like I said, you have your idea who I am. I have my idea of who you guys are.
Yeah.
But we don't know each other's stories like that.
Yeah.
I had one friend who was mad at me because I would post these things on my story of like, and I think you had a joke about this when you don't have a joke but you post something motivational. But I
Oh,
posted
yeah,
like
yeah.
deep stuff because I used to be really into deep stuff and like even the first podcast.
You used to be.
Well, I mean, I still am, but the first
Yeah.
podcast I was into was like we used to talk about religion and like it was
Yeah.
like a theological podcast. And I'm still into that stuff, so I'll post that stuff in my story.
So
and I have
I'd swipe left on you.
yeah, you swipe left on me. But I had, trust me, I wanted to get into Theravada Buddhism for the longest time. But so she called me out and she said, "You're so fake, blah blah blah. You're posting all this stuff, like you're a comic, blah blah blah." And I was like, "No, but that's who I was before." So like if we all like laid out our stories, I bet you they'd be so different than what we thought it was.
Yeah.
Because now I'm just an audio engineer. But back then,
Just.
yeah. Well, I mean, back in
You're
college,
just an audio
I got the
engineer
party.
for the facial recognition comedy podcast.
And I finally got Paula V to follow me.
Wait, but I was
Operative word. The.
Yeah.
what was it? Fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say.
It's the same.
Oh,
as,
well, I was
yeah,
gonna
go
say
for it.
like in the okay. So I asked you if you felt more like a fuckboy in the comedy game because I feel like my standards have lowered. I've encountered more fuckery since being in the comedy game. I feel like people change their mentality because everything is so like ephemeral. Like everything is like so. Like we meet people, we work on projects with them, they disappear, and I
Yeah.
feel like it's almost like Tinder in real life, being in a creative field, because it's like people come and go so quickly, and there are like intense relationships that you develop depending on the
Yeah,
project you
yeah.
work on or whatever,
And you only see them for.
and
yeah,
you only see
sure.
them for a little bit,
Yeah,
and then you
yeah.
meet so many different people,
Uh-huh.
and they're like with humor being like disarming for people, it's like more likely you're gonna charm people and be charmed by people.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like the comedy, like, because in undergrad, like I knew so many people who were just like in long-term relationships, and I like the fuckboys in undergrad were not. There was like one guy who was like a fuckboy in my undergrad.
Yeah.
That people were like, that guy gets around, and he didn't even really like do what people do now that I see people do.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it really depends on the group that you're in, and I think comedy kind of like encourages that mentality.
I mean, it's entertainment.
Yeah.
It's just entertainment in general. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, with comedy, at least I think people are a little more forthcoming with their words, a little more blunt, a little more like straight up. Like there's so many different scenes in LA where there's a lot of sociopaths here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is, so, people I think will do whatever they can get away with. Some people.
But I think even for other people, you kind of have to fight against that mentality because it's so pervasive, and because it almost feels like a lot of people just like act like kids, like,
Yeah.
Uh-huh. I think, and to your point, I think the difference is how, like, what the way that comedy affects people, like, in their fuckboyness or whatever,
Yeah.
is like, and we talk about this with, like dudes, like, well, are you now getting more because
You're funny.
You're
More
funny, and maybe,
access.
I have a
Yeah.
homie that he used to be really fat. Like he used to be really fat. He started doing comedy. He started hitting the gym all the time. Now he's an attractive dude. Whenever we go out, girls are
The
always
people
walking
always
up
shout.
to. Yeah,
John
it's so much.
Jacob Jingle.
that was his name. That's a stage name.
Yeah.
So, but girls will go up to him and talk to him.
Yeah.
And now I've seen him kind of and he just got out of like a 7-year relationship.
He's like,
I've seen him transform into like that. So definitely for him that works because now he has access to more than he used to.
yeah.
Whereas for somebody like me who I was already like doing okay, and then I've invested so much into comedy and this business
yeah.
that like my health has taken a backseat. So right now I'm focused on like health stuff, and I'm focused on getting my mind right, because
yeah.
I mean, and I talk about this
you
openly.
still want to fuck though.
Yeah,
then
but I
you're
talk
like-
about this openly too. I've gained since then. I've gained 60 pounds since I
Yeah.
started doing all this comedy stuff.
So like in 3 years.
in like 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I used to be like this fit, like always at the gym, always playing basketball dude who would go out to the bar and act a
So
fool.
what happened? Like your just priorities changed.
My priorities
You had to
changed.
shift. Yeah.
And I decided, you know what? I want to launch something that I'm proud of, and I want to work on my shit. And along the line, you meet people who stick around, and that's
Yeah.
cool. But at the same time, like, I feel like some people become more of a fuckboy, but some people, like, I feel like I'm an example of people who become less of one.
I feel like I'm like that too. Like I've retreated more.
Yeah, because you mature, Plus, I came into it pretty young, where like I started around like when I was like 21 or 22, and now like, and I'm not saying I'm old, but like now that I'm saying like
We
I'm
are.
25, 26. now that I'm 3/4 of the way done with my life, I feel that like, but like
Damn,
I've
Paul.
now I can be cerebral about
yeah.
interpersonal relationships, and be like, I know exactly where this is going, rather than being the horny kid who's like, I'm gonna try and fuck everybody,
Yeah.
which is how I was in college. It's different.
How long is this episode?
We're good
Fizzo
now.
wants to leave.
I was like, I don't know if I can do like
I was gonna call it like
episodes
earlier, but
past
we got
10
into it.
p.m.
yeah, we got into
All
This
it.
is
right.
interesting. This
Well,
has been interesting.
Yeah,
This has been fun. Ooh, Paul, what's your socials?
So
That
you
you've
can
been
follow
dropping
me
like every 3 minutes.
at the Paul Antonio. I used to, when I answer the phone, I say it's your favorite Antonio.
Yeah,
the
but
Paul
does
Antonio.
Paul follow you?
Now she does. I got that Paul follow.
It's
That Paul and Paul
you're
follow.
on the edge, buddy.
At the Paul Antonio, thepaulantonio.com. By the way, my podcast Spaced Out, we have a new thing where it's called In the Fields Fridays, which is just me and Atalia, and we talk about like mental health stuff, but we also talk about like, if you want to see two comics who are like, she's 22, I'm 25, we're barely getting into things, and like the emotional toll that takes on us, what our priorities are, that kind of stuff. It's like we're kind of trying to give that insight with the platform that we have, because not a lot of people our age have this platform, so we're gracious to have comedy pop up and everything. So that's Spaced Out on iTunes. Subscribe. and
Get it,
listen.
Paul.
Get it,
Listen to the
Paul.
podcast.
Get it.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And we are Facial Recognition Comedy on Instagram and Facebook, Facial Rec Comedy on Twitter, facialrecognitioncomedy.com for everything. We're going to be at the Irvine Improv July 23rd at 8 p.m. We have our show the second Sunday of every month at Westside Comedy Theater in Santa Monica at 9 p.m.
July 14th is our next one.
Yes, it's a dope lineup. And then I think Paul's taking us swiveling. And then what else? We're going to be in New York probably in
But Paul,
July again.
Get one with
maybe.
my foot on the table.
And then
Hold on. I'm so gross.
I'm Paula Viganalan, PALLAVIGUNALAN. Zara couldn't be with us tonight. She's really Zara. That's Zara with an H. Fizza got her feet up. She is Fizza Dasani. I'm just doing yours
Just
too.
do it. Just do
She's
it.
Fizza Dasani everywhere. That's FIZAADOSANI. Thank you.
Oh my God, that was so
robotic. I'm so tired too.